And we're now joined by LAFC head coach Greg Vanney. We'll go ahead and start with questions. We'll go ahead and start with Damian Calhoun.
Hey, Greg. First of all, we thought just your thoughts on finally getting a win after what the season has been like to start, and also your thoughts on players. I mean, like Tucker Lefty getting the start. How you see him perform, and then Isaiah Parente again, and I guess Harper Miller.
Yeah, I thought first I just thought the collective performance was really good tonight. I thought the ball was moving quickly, or the positions that we were finding and taking up were really good. We were creating a lot of problems for them, trying to figure out how to get to the ball and how to press it. I felt like we almost always had solutions for each other. We found good moments to change the speed of the game. We found Gabe in some good spots. Tucker was lively. So I just think overall really good collective performance. Defensively, we had the ball so much that the actual defensive part of it was a low percentage of the game, but I thought we dealt with most of the situations well until the end on the header where we lose a mark. But yeah, just really pleased with the guys. A lot of guys had good performances tonight. But guys like Tucker, who stepped in having not played this season, was excellent. I thought just again busy and in good spots and shifty and doing a great job of choosing moments of when to just keep possession and when to kind of speed things up. And I thought he was really good. And I thought him working with Julian and with Diego over there was a nice combination. Again, the three of them working together. So again, Isaiah I thought was really clean. I think Isaiah and Edwin in together have shown just some consistency over the last two games of really being able to link up and find each other, connect, get the ball to the next line. Isaiah was in some good spots. We used him, to help cover Harbor, who was getting high and supporting the attack as well. So. So I was pleased, and Harbor put together another really good game, another solid performance. Again, he's growing in confidence with more opportunities, and he knows how we want to play. He's been in the academy for a long time, so he knows kind of how the system works and how things go and what positions he needs to be in. So for him, it's just, it's just execution and getting more and more comfortable with the speed of play. And today we had so much of the ball. A lot of it was the attacking stuff, which is certainly in his wheelhouse. But his defensive moments have been sound as well. So I'm just pleased for the group because it's, as each one of these games comes and goes, it mounts a little bit, the feeling. And today was a great emotion. We didn't have to grind through it either. Like, we really performed as a group today, which is nice. And I thought, to be fair, St. Louis was a step forward in performance, even though the game got away from us. I thought we did better things inside of that game than we had done in the previous couple. So today I felt like it was another step forward for the group and for the guys that were out there. I thought they all did excellent. Yeah, it's saying Isaiah did a nice job. I think just connecting again with Edwin. The two of them went to be together in certain situations when he could get a little bit wider and help Harbor to get higher in good spots. Again, his ability to get facing forward. At times he was able to move forward in the next line, which is something we talked about with him. So again, I thought his decisions over the course of the game were really good. The execution in his moments were really good. He was competing defensively. I mean, just an all-around really sound game. I think the most important thing about it is just, over the first few games, we've been looking for the right connection with Eddie, who is going to help us to really kind of help establish the rhythm in the game for us, the control in zones 1 and 2 in the first phase of our possessions. And Isaiah's done a really nice job in the last two games of showing that, that those two can be a nice partnership.
Okay, great, congratulations. Please correct me in a highly likely event that I'm wrong, but you've been looking for guys to step up to replace some of the players that were traded, some of the players that were injured. If you look at Harbor and Isaiah, they played the last two games, started the last two games.
Yeah.
Those are probably your best two games. I know you've talked a little bit about it already, but do you see it that way, and what do they bring that you didn't have before?
Yeah, I think we'll start with Isaiah. He just playing that second pivot role sometimes is intricate and it's quick and it's when to turn, when to bounce, when to show up, when to stay away. There's a lot of little details inside of playing that role. Isaiah, who was with us last year, even though he didn't play a ton, he was with us. He was in the training environment. He played in the second team. It's something he's comfortable with. Before us, he did it with Columbus, again, a similar type of role. And so I just think he's shown that he's very comfortable. He's got high level of awareness in terms of his surroundings and understanding time and pressure and things like that, and where his solutions are. And I feel like with some of the other guys that we played in there who are relatively new to the club or new to the team, whether it's Isaiah or Lucas or two guys that we've tried in there, they're not ready for the intricacies of sort of that pivot role that sometimes we have. And obviously it was done differently last year with Ricky, who would drop down and pick up balls, and sometimes it was Mark in there. So it was just finding the right, the guys who's most ready for right now, while we bring other guys along and we continue to integrate the players who are newer, who are learning kind of the nuances. There's a lot of reads inside of there that, typically people probably don't understand, but there's a lot of reads that the guys are being asked to do on depending on how the other position is defending, on whether to be inside or outside, whether to show up as a second pivot or to give space. And there's a lot of reading, and so it's not easy for the guys who are settling in to take in all of that information at the same time. And Isaiah, a guy who's done it, has certainly stepped in and give us some stability, and that's it's a really important position for us in the way we want to play. As for Harbor, I think he, again, a young man who's been with us in the club for a long time. He's always a kid who I've known since I got here, and he was 15. He has a high level of confidence. That's the first thing that's good. There's not a situation that he feels like he can't accomplish something in, and he goes for it. And so, that's a good starting point. His personality is a good starting point, and then he understands what we're trying to do because, again, his time in the academy. He understands, based on the positioning of Gabe, whether to be inside or outside, whether to sit low or whether to, like I said, to how to move in those situations. And then the rest for him is just execution in the moments, making good decisions, choosing the right pass, choosing the right time, when to defensive decisions. And I think he's getting more comfortable, he's getting more confident, if that's possible. But he's certainly settling in, and the guys around him are getting more confident in him. There's some times in the first game when he first played, I felt like we looked him off a little bit, and I think this time we delivered the ball to him in some of those situations. So yeah, it's growth, and I think that's positive for our team. And he's, he probably wouldn't have been called on if it wasn't for the fact that we lost two right backs, and he steps in, and now you got a player who can help you for the run of the season. And that's some of what the early part of the season is about too, is to figure out who you have and how they're going to help you in the long stretch. And certainly he's taken his opportunity well.
Thank you.
Okay.
Great. I think it was Christian in the first leg or before the first leg of Herediano said something to the effect that you allowed maybe some more freedom within the system. And today we saw Diego Fagundez sort of going from the left side to the right side, being able to overload the right side, but going anywhere. Is that something that you have put into this, and are we starting to see maybe a little bit more of a fluid attack in that way?
Yeah, I think today was a little more fluid because there was more guys on the field who I think have been with us for longer, even though they're not guys you've seen as much over the last 2 years, but the Tuckers of the world and Isaiah, even Harbor, obviously Diego, guys like that, they're just more comfortable with understanding what positions need to be filled, right? And obviously Diego, he makes a run out. He doesn't get the ball. He then resets over on the opposite side, which shows an overload. What I liked about that is the group noticed that there was an overload there, and we played it instead of going to the other side and find out that we didn't have a player there. So I like that we recognized it. And I think that was one of the great things of the day, was the level of awareness that the group played with each other, and when guys are aware of each other, like I said, it's a positional game, but who occupies the position can vary, and that's why it's so hard to defend. And they could not figure out where the references were, to defend on any given moment, which is why they were having a hard time getting pressure to the ball, because guys were showing up in spots, and you could tell that they were, I don't know if arguing is the right word, but they were certainly yelling at each other, trying to say, you pick up him and him, but the guys are place changing, and so it's hard to figure out. So I felt like a real advantage of the day, and one of the things that really helped us was just the continuity of the group in terms of experience inside of what we're doing, and I thought that really helped.
Are
Right. I actually got two. One quick one, Marco, and not being in the group today.
Yeah, I mean, it's nothing serious. It's just, again, management as much as anything. So coming out of the last game, just feeling like he could use an extra couple of days of rest and before we get into the weekend. So nothing major, yeah.
Gabe, you've spoken earlier this year about the desire to get Gabe to go inside a little bit more. Seems that that's happened since Harbor's come on, and Harbor
Yeah.
is one who wants to get as high as possible.
Sure.
Can you talk a little bit about how that's working?
Yeah, I mean, again, you know, for Gabe, he's played with 3 right backs in the course of, 4 or 5 games, you know, and obviously when Emmy's back there, although Emmy was flying forward tonight, normally Emmy would sit a little bit lower, you know, which means if Gabe goes inside, that we don't have anybody filling the outside space, so then Gabe's got to stay a little bit wider. So I want, you know, ultimately I want Gabe to be comfortable. We know he's comfortable as a winger, but I want him to be comfortable going inside and playmaking for us and taking on some responsibilities of a 10 sometimes, you know. I want him sometimes to be able to stay wide and go one-on-one with guys. And so sometimes it's for him, and I want him to feel out where he feels he's having success in the game, and sometimes I'll dictate to him a little bit more if I feel like something's going to be better for him on the day or not. So. But I want him to be comfortable being in both of those positions and understanding the nuances of what it takes to be in the inside position as well as the outside position. So, but with Harbor coming around the outside, it certainly gives you more of an attacking guy out there than if Femi's out there. Though he almost had 2 assists today, I keep saying it. But with Harbor out there, the attacking mindedness that he has, it gives Gabe, you know, somebody who can get that fullback off of his back if nobody's there, you know. So that's the importance of Harbor getting higher. So and the one thing I give Zonka, I thought Zonka had a really good game, and I thought very professional, very positionally aware. You know, one of the things that I felt like he gave us tonight that we haven't been getting all the time was his involvement in the possession, and sometimes choosing, and we talked about this, when to be low option or when to step into the next line and be an option there. And that changes the picture so much for a team that, you know, maybe wants to sit a little bit lower and they have to account for one of our center backs who's willing to carry the ball forward or entice somebody out of a low position. It just changes Gabe's, like, the pressure that's on Gabe. Teams can't just sit on him because now they have to deal with somebody who's willing to step forward in that line. And I felt like he gave us something a little bit different tonight in his, you know, the way he was playing that position as well.
Last question was Rob.
Greg, congratulations on the win. You mentioned Amito a couple of times. What was the message to him before he came on? He was a little bit more in that advanced position. Yeah, I think you said he was flying. Did you give him anything specific tonight? Thank you.
Yeah, I mean, we weren't looking for him to be so attack-minded, but it all kind of depends on how the game evolves. But we weren't asking him to take a high starting position, let's say that. But if the game opened up and the space opened up, then for sure he's blazing fast, which we've seen mostly on the defensive side of things. But if the space was there, for sure to go ahead and take it, which he was able to, you know, to get behind a couple of times and to show his willingness. And, you know, again, as I talked about what Zonka's willingness to step in the next line, it's something we want Emmy to be able to do. So playing a little bit in right back where he has to attack a little bit, maybe he builds up a little bit of that, you know, that confidence when he's playing center back to go ahead and step in the next line, receive some balls, draw pressure, play off to somebody else. It's one of the things that we want him to get more bold, I think, with. It's not that he's not capable. I think sometimes he doesn't want to get himself in that position, but we need him to. So I liked him on the right back because I felt like he kind of outwardly expressed himself in the attack a little bit more, which is, you know, something we would like him to do, not the same way, not running behind, but just stepping forward 5 to 7 yards sometimes in his center back position can really help us in some ways. So yeah, again, and it just opened up for him to take off a few times. I think he should have had an assist, but he kind of steamed it across to Diego. I'm not sure he could deal with it.
Thank you, Greg.
Is that it? All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
And with that concludes our press conference. Next one is outside.
Oi.
Players going through.
Thank you very much.
Oh, yeah.
That was not enough.
Oh, this one. Yeah.
Showed up to story as well.
Do